Yo, you don't learn how to do a fucking rejump? You know what? I'll teach you. Over the past 5 years, one of the things that I've seen a ton is people saying they would love to play X character, but they feel like they can't because they quote unquote can't do rejumps. Well, you know what? I think I can help. I'm going to keep this video short and sweet, but at the end of it, you'll have rejumps down and be doing more damage, building more meter, having better positioning, and looking far more stylish than your standard Saiyan B&B. Let's start with the basics, the standard rejump. Most characters that do rejumps in this game follow the same structure, though there can be slight differences in timing and delays depending on which character you're doing it with. So I'm going to be demonstrating with Android 21 and Cell, but this also applies to characters like SSJ Goku, SSJ Vegeta, Android 18, Janemba. They all follow the same structure. This is what the standard rejump looks like. And now I'll show you with Cell. Now, ignoring the combos after the rejumps, this is the standard structure that most characters in the game will follow when they do rejumps. So the inputs for the standard rejump were on the screen while I was demonstrating, but to be honest, inputs probably aren't enough for those of you who've been struggling with this. So let's actually slow it down and I'll explain where you're going wrong on rejumps. So you can see, to start things off, doing a combo, and I'm going into 5H. Now, most characters after they 5H will want to slightly delay their super dash, and the reason for that is that they want their opponent to be lower to the ground because it makes the rejump easier. And so take off with my super dash. After the super dash makes contact, you can check my inputs in the top left hand corner. I do an air dash into a JM. Now this is where most people mess up during rejumps. So what most people are doing after this JM makes contact is they are waiting until they land, and then they're doing dash jump JL and they end up missing. What you actually want to do here is, while this JM is making contact, this is where you want to input your dash. And the reason for that is the game recognizes that you can't dash while hitting your opponent with a button, and so it will do what's called a buffer. It will give you your dash the moment that you're able to, and the next time that you're able to dash is the moment you hit the ground. So you get a frame 1 dash, which allows you to get a frame 1 dash jump. So we'll continue on here. You can see the JM is making contact, and you see my dash is inputted before I even touch the ground. And now that I've touched the ground, I press up forward and I link my JL. And we'll do the same thing, but with Cell. Again, Cell is going to be more of the same. Combo into the 5H that we talked about before. Slightly delay on the super dash. They air dash forward M. As you can see, you can already see my my dash forward being inputted here while the JM is making contact. Now I press up forward the moment I touch the ground, and that allows me to link the JL. This is by far the most important part of the rejump and where overwhelming majority of people mess up. And so if you're out there and you haven't been able to do the standard rejump before, it's most likely because you're waiting too long to input your dash. Cannot stress that enough. Make sure you input the dash during the JM and not after you hit the ground. All right, so next I actually want to cover a few characters who almost have the standard rejump, but they're a little bit different because of how their buttons work. And so we'll start off with Frieza, and this is what Frieza's 5H rejump looks like. So Frieza's rejump is different for two reasons. One, whenever his 5H makes contact, you actually have to wait until all of the rocks connect with your opponent before they fly away, which means his super dash has to be more delayed than the average character, and that timing can feel very awkward for people. And then the structure for his rejump is the same, where you see he's doing the air dash JM, but instead of landing and doing a dash jump JL, he actually just does 5L. So after you connect with the JM, you can just press 5L, and then you can follow up with a jump cancel to continue the combo. Now, since his is off of 5L instead of a JL, the height really matters a lot. So your delay on your super dash means everything when it comes to this rejump. You want to try to hit them while they're as low as possible to make this as easy for yourself as you possibly can, because it will drop if your super dash is too high, and that's what makes it feel so awkward for people. Then there's Gogeta Blue. Gogeta Blue actually has a ton of different rejump routes, and so I'll try to cover a few briefly here. But first, we'll start off with a standard 5H rejump. So Gogeta Blue actually follows the standard rejump structure. It's just that the way his buttons are, particularly his 5H and his JM, throws off people's timing and makes it awkward for them to use the same methods as before. So we'll talk about that a little bit. So first off is this 5H. His 5H is 2 parts. He punches you and then follows up with a kick. Your opponent doesn't fly away until after the kick lands, and so your delayed super dash has to come after this. So it's going to feel like it's later than the average character. And then the other part of it that's super awkward is that his JM is 3 hits. And so you actually don't need all 3 hits of the JM to connect in order to rejump. So you can get away with delaying his JM much more than the average character. And I do recommend that you delay your JM as well. If you're having trouble linking this rejump, it's likely because you're trying to do the JM with the same timing as a normal character. And for Gogeta Blue, he needs to do his JM a little bit later, and then the follow-up should be much easier for you. Then there's this rejump in the corner, which is kind of the exact same deal, except it's actually easier. You don't even need to jump and do JL. You can actually just 5M after landing your delayed JM, and you don't even have to time it either. I've actually found that you can just mash the 5M and you'll get the link. Just make sure that you jump cancel afterwards, or else you'll drop it. And so this is what that looks like. The last one I want to cover for Gogeta Blue is off of his J2H mid-screen. This one's pretty different because you're actually super dashing off of an air move instead of a grounded move, but it's easier than you might think once you get the hang of it. So this is what it looks like. So for this combo, you want to do an air combo into his J2H. From there, you want to do a delayed super dash, and when you do this delayed super dash, you have to make sure that Gogeta touches the ground before you take off. That way you still have your air dash available after your super dash makes contact. But once the super dash does make contact, it's just the same from there. You do the same air dash into delayed JM that we did on the 5H rejump, and the same follow-up dash jump JL that we've been using this entire time. So I think that part kind of trips people up because you have to wait until he touches the ground, but you also can't wait too long, because if you wait too long, then obviously you won't get there in time. And so it takes a little bit of practice, but I think all of you can definitely get this down. Last but not least, we have characters who rejump, but a little bit differently. These characters actually do 2 buttons after their air dash, and they don't need dash momentum to follow up. They can just link with a normal jump JL to complete their rejump. And so I'll show it for Bardock first. So as you can see with Bardock, hit them with the 5H, do the delayed super dash, and then I hit them with air dash JM JL, and then I'm able to land and follow up with that JL to complete the combo. Now, being a Bardock player, I can definitely tell you guys that his 5H rejump is definitely harder than your average rejump, because your delay timing on your super dash has to be pretty good in order to get both buttons and also be able to get the follow-up after your jump. But it is something that he can do, and is a combo that I use in matches, so I definitely recommend learning it if you're going to be playing Bardock. So next I'll show it with Broly, and Broly is a little different because you actually don't need to air dash for your JML and you don't need a dash jump for the follow-up, but you can still do the air dash to set up your timing if you feel like you'll get it more consistently. So this is what Broly's Rejump would look like without an air dash. And this is what it would look like with an air dash. As you can see, both work perfectly fine. You're going to get the same damage either way, and so it's really just left up to you which one you want to do. Last but not least, we have the terror of the game, Android 21 Lab Coat. And so her rejump off of 5H is a little bit different because she actually does LM instead of ML. So I'll show you what that looks like. Lab Coat also has a rejump off of her just normal grounded string if you go into 5M 2M, and so I'll show you what that looks like as well. So for this particular rejump, it's a little bit different because you're super dashing directly off of 2M instead of a 5H. You actually don't need any delay required for this super dash. You can do it immediately. And then once the super dash makes contact, it's business as usual. You do the air dash into your JLM, and then you follow up with the JL, no air dash required. So very simple, very easy. Everyone can learn this for sure. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the rejump tutorial. Hopefully after watching this, you feel like they're actually much easier than people make them out to be, and they don't act as a barrier for you to play the characters that you want to play. If you try everything out in this video and you're still having trouble, feel free to leave a comment or ask me on Twitch where I stream every single day. You can find the link in the description. On your way out, be sure to leave a like and let me know below if you want more tutorials like this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.